The mapping operator is the odd one out in this set in some respects, as it solely deals with UV mapping rather than material application. Because of this, it's missing any material assignment options whatsoever. What it does do is allow you to assign a single UVW value to your entire particle. Usually a UVW set would range between a value of 0 to 1, and this range can be used to apply a bitmap image or any other kind of mapped value to a 3D object. Now in this case a single value is applied to the entire particle, which if used in conjunction with a bitmap would produce a single color value at the point that the UVW values converge. So let's quickly have a look at what I mean by that. I'm using this material here, material UV static, so there's actually no animation on the UVs themselves. And you can see that's been shown here on the teapots. And if I go down to the actual material itself, you can see I've got this bitmap here. And you can see it's just a range of sort of random colors. Now the UV space runs from this corner down here. You've got a value of 0 here, both in U and V. You've got the V axis here, V for vertical, you can think of it that way. And you've got the U axis here. And the W axis actually runs in and out of the image, if you can imagine that. And you know, generally with 2D objects it's not used a great deal. Now if we run from, as I said, we run from here, 0 here, this would be U and V0 here, this would be U1 here, and this would be V1 here. So you've got a coordinate system. And if we have a look at our first mapping operator, you can see that it's using a coordinate of 0 on U, which would be here. And you can see it's using a V coordinate of 0.999. Now, when I was actually setting up the scene, I actually used a value of 1, which to me would have actually, you know, that would have actually given me a U value up here. A V value up here, I would have said. But what I found that when I used a V value of 1, it actually gave me the same value as 0. So you can see that what I've used here is the last value pretty much before going up to 1. So I've used 0.999, and I found that actually did give me a V value at the top of the map. So you can see that at the moment the U value is on 0, but I've actually set it up so that when you scrub the timeline, the U value actually changes over to 1, so it actually animates over time. So if we turn on show map in viewport, although the map's actually displayed here, it's not actually, that's actually being displayed by the material itself. But if we actually go to the mapping operator, we can show map in viewport, and what it's actually doing now is it's showing you an accurate representation of the implementation of this map. So as I said, it's picking out just one UV point, which you can imagine is just say 1 pixel, and it's applying that to the entire particle. So if we go back to frame 0, and we can see the teapots here through this gap, you can see that on frame 0 we've got this kind of bluey color here. And what will happen is, as I scrub the timeline, the U space will actually move across here. So you'd expect it to go from sort of slightly darker blue to a brighter blue, to a green, to a kind of yellowy green over here maybe, then over to a yellow, and then a sort of maybe an orangey yellow at the end. So if we actually scrub the timeline, you can see we're going into the lighter blue from the darker blue. So we go into the lighter blue, through sort of cyans, down into green. The green gets brighter, you can see it gets brighter again, and then towards the end it becomes yellowy, and it kind of goes orange, and then maybe a little bit olive at the end. So in this case we've just actually picked a V spot right at the top of the map, and we've just animated the U across it. So if we look at the next version of this mapping operator, what I've set it up slightly differently. I've pretty much done the opposite. I've set U to 0, which is over here, and I've set the V space, if I go back to 0, to being 0. So it starts off basically in this corner, and you can see that if I scrub the timeline, it's going to go up, and it's going to go all the way up to 0.999 again. And 0.999 in this case in V will be up